Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me. And we're coming off of a hell of a weekend, man. I hope everybody had a happy Memorial Day, and everybody stayed safe, first and foremost, because I know it was a lot of drinking going on, man. I know it was a lot of drinking going on. I was down in Galveston, man, on the beach, and I don't know if you know it or not, but they had to shut the damn beach down.
The whole beach?
Yeah.
What happened?
Too many people. Yeah, shut it down. Everybody, y'all ain't got to go home, but y'all get the hell out of Galveston. It was one of those type of deals, man. I was down on Delanera, so I was good. You know, they got their own little private beach down there. But first time, shout out to Delanera for picking up me one of them sites, man. We was just talking about that last week, and they hooked me up. They called me on Saturday and said, hey, Book, we got you covered. Come on down. But this is the first time Delanera RV park, it had cars everywhere on the beach, like thousands of people. It is normally nobody there. And people just want to get out, man. And I get it, man. I get it. It was a hell of a weekend. And, me personally, I was out there relaxing, got a chance to watch that boy Tank Davis go out there and mix it up with that boy Romero. So I was just kicking back, chilling, watching the fight, drinking a few of them twisted teas, and yeah. But hey, all the listeners out there, man, I want to thank you guys before we even get started for stepping inside the Hall of Fame, getting your champagne wishes, caviar trees, man, whatever you want, man, whatever you want today inside the Hall of Fame, man. But what about yourself? I mean,
look, I took in the relaxation like you did, and I made sure that I chilled out as much as I could. I had a little pool party, a little barbecue cookout, which was fun, man. And here's the thing. I've learned that how they look on the internet isn't how they look in real life. You know what I mean? I saw this thing on Amazon, right, man? It looked like a little pool setup. But I said, you know what? That'd be sweet. I'll get a little inflatable pool, nothing huge, but something I could just chill out in. That wasn't the biggest piece of donkey crap that I've ever gotten in my life. I should have known. I mean, I should have known there was a problem when it took me an hour to blow the goddamn thing up. You know what I'm saying? And then, it can fit 4 people. 4 people, my ass. It couldn't fit 4 toes in that some gun. You know what I mean?
So people, you just sit, not moving.
No moving.
If you're doing nothing.
And you got to sit with your knees up to your chest, holding on to it. I felt like I was in like economy seating, right, on a full flight to LA, not even economy plus. So, but I had a good weekend. I was like you. I got to check out the fight. I got to check out Double or Nothing. I got to check out that Game 7. Shout out to them Celtics, man, who went and got the job done. I was pulling for Butler in the Heat, but man, that's a solid team. So I enjoyed the weekend.
It's gonna be a hell of a series too, man.
Who you got
right now? I'm going. You don't want to see Steph. I want to see Steph go ahead on and cash it in, just to shut up all the haters, man. It's a damn shame when people saying, "Do Steph Curry got to get one more to solidify his legacy?" Come on, what the hell y'all talking about? But I just want to see Steph just go ahead and shut up all the doubters, man, and just prove to the world that he is the greatest pure shooter the game has ever seen.
Well, he is. He is the greatest pure shooter of all time. And here's the thing, too. I saw the same argument. I think I saw JJ Redick or Max Kellerman. One of them were talking about he needs to win a finals MVP to solidify his place in the game. And I think that's a bunch of hogwash, man. If you see, look, they have gone to the finals. What is this, the 6th time in the 8th in 8 years? Something like that. I think that's what it is. Yes, I think it's the 6th time in 8 years because they won 3, they lost 2. Yeah, so this will be their 6th one.
Yeah.
To me, that show, and who's been the leader of the team the entire time? It's been Steph Curry.
Well, it wouldn't happen without Steph Curry.
No. And does he have a great supporting cast? Yes. Does he have Klay Thompson? Did he have KD for a couple seasons? Absolutely. And you have to take those into account. Yeah. But Steph Curry has been the life force of that team.
Yeah,
or none. When you need to count on that big shot, I don't want the ball in anybody else's hands.
Yeah.
And to me, his legacy is solidified with the Warriors.
Well,
there hasn't been a team like this, Book, since the Bulls that have gone to the finals this much.
Thanks for proving my point, man. Thanks for proving my point, because he was telling me that boy was going to fall off with the little scandal that he was going.
Well, it looked like he was going to.
Well, I mean, yeah, but you don't forget how to do that. You just don't forget how to shoot the ball like that. I was just watching some of the game, and when you watch Steph Curry shoot the ball, it comes out of his hand like it's got a radar on it, like it's got a beacon, attached to it, and he just throw it up, and it just seemed like it just find its way, and that is just countless hours of practice and practice and practice. They got this. My son Kendrick, he goes and he plays basketball, and they got this device, this apparatus, whatever you want to call it, that you put around the basketball goal, and you got to shoot over it in order to actually be able to shoot with an arch. And I know they didn't have that when Steph Curry was playing, but that's the way the young kids are taught how to play now, to shoot with an arch where you can't block the shot, 9 times out of 10. So, yeah, man, I just wonder how much time that dude put into his craft to learn to be able to do it almost blindfolded. Unbelievable talent.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible. So I got the Warriors as well. I got the Warriors in 6. That Celtics team that's a hard team. But I think that you're looking at the number 1 and 2 defenses in the league, but to me, you're looking at the number 1 offense of the last 10 years in the Warriors, and no one's had a third quarter stretch like those guys have. I mean, the most incredible third quarter team I've ever seen in the history of basketball. So I got them in 6.
Yeah. What do you think about that Tank Davis, Javante Tank Davis, Rolando Rolly Romero fight went down this weekend, pay-per-view, Showtime. Man, I said Rolly was going to win the fight. I felt like he was going to stop.
You mean Tank?
I'm sorry. I felt like Tank was going to win the fight. I felt like he was going to stop him in 9, though I didn't think, it was going to end that soon. But it happened totally the opposite of what Rolly Romero said was going to happen. He said Tank is going to run into something, and he's just, he's pretty much going to knock himself out. And that's what happened to him. He just ran into a shot, man, where, like Tank Davis said, it didn't even look like he had as much on it that he could have. And that's the thing about boxing, catching the guy in that right spot, that what they call the sweet spot. That dude was on Dream Street, man. He was concussed. His legs were gone. And if the referee would have let it go just a few more seconds, I just only could imagine what would have happened, to that kid. I think it was a great stoppage. It was a great fight, great win for Tank Davis. He moves on. What do you think about Rolly saying he won all 6 rounds and they need to run it back?
I think it's somebody grasping at straws after an embarrassing defeat, right? I mean, in all due respect to Rolly Romero, I really enjoyed actually your interview that you had with him that we put up on this channel, him and Tank Davis. I thought we got a lot of insight to both those guys, and I can understand why he would want to run it back, because look, he got handled pretty easily. Like you said, getting him out of there in 6 rounds, that's not great for your resume. You want a chance to redeem yourself just like anybody would. But I don't think if they ran it back, the result would be any different. Maybe it doesn't end so soon, but it's going to end. It's just levels to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think Rolly Romero, he's going to run into a lot of trouble once he move up the ladder just because those guys, like the Leo Santa Cruzes, the Barrios of the world, those guys ain't no joke. Just go to show you how good Tank Davis, just go to show you how good this kid really is, man. And like I say, the maturity of Tank Davis over these last few years, man, the kid has grown up. The kid is a man now, and I much respect to Rolly Romero for going out there and fighting a hard fight, but big ups to Javante Tank Davis for defending the WBA lightweight championship. Hey guys, stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We got to take a quick break. We'll be back in a minute. You worth it.
15 years, the King of Solar Screens has been an industry leader, and we proudly use 100% American-made products. Home of the $55 any size, any color solar screen.
Well, what about arches?
$55.
What about circles?
$55.
What about rectangles?
$55.
Any size, any color, installed free. The King of Solar Screens, on time, every time.
Now can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
Shub. Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, man. There again, man, a lot went down over this weekend. There again, I hope everybody stays safe out there. More important than anything. But Brad, I don't know, man. What should we start, man? Like I say, we got big pay-per-view coming up this weekend. Hell in a Cell, of course, I got to be there. But we just coming off of a big pay-per-view. Double or Nothing AEW. They're big. What should we call that? One of their big two of the year. WWE got the big four. AEW got what? The big two, right?
I think this is one of the big two. I think you'd put this in All Out, maybe.
Yeah.
As their two big ones. This is their signature event, though, Book. This is the one that when you and I once upon a time went out there to do something, right? This was the event. Remember Kylie Ray, one of our own. We saw her face on the side of the MGM Grand, and now here we are, several years later, with Double or Nothing. And Book, it was a big show. It was a big show. There was one major change. The only title change that happened was in that main event. It was a long show, longer than usual. But I don't know. I mean, really though, before the show even started, there was a lot of drama going on. And that was the drama surrounding Maxwell Jacob Friedman and MJF. MJF no-showed an autograph signing. Then there was rumors that he booked a trip back home after the media call that Tony Khan had. I believe it was Thursday afternoon or evening. MJF, quote tweeted a quote from Tony Khan and said, "F this place," and then he quickly deleted it. There was rumors that he wasn't even going to show up to the show. He showed up right before his match, which was on first, left right afterward. And according to speculation, he and Tony Khan are supposed to sit down. Tony Khan was asked about it in the post-match presser, and he said, "I have no comment on the situation."
Yeah.
What do you think of all this MJF stuff?
You know what? I don't know. I don't know what to think about it, really.
I don't either.
I don't know if it's, work, or not, a shoot or not, One thing about it, if they are working us, it's a good work. Mm-hmm. It's a good work. It seems authentic. It seems like it has a real feel to it. And that's why I feel like wrestling still can be that deal that make people come out to see it because they don't know all the outcome. They're still want to know man, how's this thing going to play out? They want that thriller ending. I think, so I think in wrestling now with, social media being used the way it's been used, as of late, it hasn't done wrestling a service at all. But for something like this, to really make something like this really feel real, to where MJF almost no-show one of the biggest event of the year because of something going on between him and Tony Khan and the company and whatnot. And for me, it's believable because it's like when I went to TNA, a lot of guys that went there before me, and a lot of those guys went there and they made a boatload of money off of TNA, right? And then you had those originals there like Samoa Joe, AJ Styles, and those guys would get like chicken feed. Literally, they would get like the crumbs, and they were the guys who were the backbone of that company. And to hear the company praise you as one of the four pillars, and then you're not getting treated like one of the four pillars, it can make you feel a certain way from a realistic perspective. So I can buy this, so no pun intended. but I'm all in.
You know, I think that as with any good storyline, and actually Tony Khan said this on that press call. He said, essentially when real life bleeds into the on-air show, it makes things more interesting, right? And I think that there's real elements to this story. I think there are real disagreements between Tony Khan and MJF regarding his worth. And if you ask me, if I were to ask you, Book, actually, who's the top heel in AEW, your first answer is probably going to be MJF, right? And in the history of professional wrestling, your money is drawn from, the top heel, really, your top babyface and your top heel. You need the good and you need the evil to get people in the door most of the time, right? So I would think if you see how beneficial MJF is, not only to his matches, but the overall show and what a draw he's become, I think that you throw him some great money to stay, and maybe they have. Now, if he really did have intentions to walk out and no show the event, I don't like that at all. I don't have any respect.
I like it a lot.
I know you do, but I don't like it at all.
Just walk out and go straight to WWE. I'm just
no, I know. Well, to me, it's akin, and there's different situations, but they're somewhat similar. The Naomi and Sasha thing. We still don't really know a lot about that, so it's hard to make too many comparisons. But if you were to no-show it and leave them hanging, right before the
no, look here, I agree. Whatever happened. But he went and fulfilled his duties, and then he left immediately thereafter. I get it. We'll discuss this down the road. We'll figure it out. You know what I mean? But like I say, life and reality in professional wrestling, we've always tried to blur that line a little bit. And for me, I like it. That's just part of the business. This thing with MJF, do it have some bite to it? Is it something that could actually really, really happen? I think so, because I really think a guy like MJF, people say, a lot of people say if he go to WWE, he'll get buried. But I think if MJF went to WWE, he would be one of the biggest stars this world has ever seen. Just because I think like this as well. In AEW, who's talked about the most there? In an upward scale, in a positive way, as far as perhaps being the next big thing as far as professional wrestling go. Who are they talking about?
It's MJF.
So my thing is, this guy got all the cards, man, and it's just about how he's gonna play them more than anything, because at the end of the day, I think CM Punk actually said that at that press conference. It's about making the most money, and I think it was something else, but I remember that line more than anything. Making a lot of money, and whatever it was. But I think MJF is cut from that same cloth as far as a guy that is not going to be counting how many bumps he took when his career is over with, but how big his bank account is.
Yeah, I think so. And to me, MJF is worth an investment. And look, and I'm sure he wants to do this. He's not going to mess this up, right? He knows. He said it on TV. In 2024, I'm going to start a bidding war, right? And to me, stay in good standing with AEW if that's your plan, right? So that way you will have two companies offering top dollar for your services. I wouldn't try to mess up the relationship. Now, sometimes things happen along the road.
What if you can get out of that contract a little early?
I think that you lose some of the leverage in negotiation, because if you want to get out of the contract, then you only have one person who's bidding for you. So WWE, whatever they offer you, you're going to have to take, because you're out of contract now. You can't run back to AEW.
Yeah, you got a point there. You got a point. I was just throwing that out there.
I know. But let me ask you this.
A little bit.
If you had to assign percentage of work versus shoot, right? Like, how much of this do you think is a work, and how much of it do you think is a shoot? Is it like a 50-50 thing?
You know what? I can't even put a number on it, just because with good professional wrestling, that's what we're taught and trained to do. Mm-hmm. Go out and try to make you believe that the storyline is real. If I would have won the match against Triple H, in WrestleMania, people wouldn't still be asking me about it right now.
Mm-mm.
You know what they be saying? Man, that was a good match, man. I'm glad you won the world title, you know. But that angle actually made people feel a certain way to where people now still comment on it, you know, and some of the, you know, some of the sites saying, yeah, that's why Booker T, you know, you did this with Triple H and for us. They still remember it. They would not be thinking about that match if it wasn't compelling to the point to where a black man was going against a white man, and the black man came from the neighborhood, and the white man came from a silver spoon in his mouth, and the white man telling the black man, you don't deserve to be here. That's a true story, and it happens in the world every damn day.
Yeah.
Okay? And to make people feel a certain way when it happened, I was totally on board with it, 100%, because that's what's wrong with wrestling today, I think, in a lot of ways. We don't take it serious enough. My brother and I, we did an angle in the Global Wrestling Federation to where we got to take a break. I'm gonna tell that story when we come back. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
My name is Dan Miller, and I'm trained to be a professional wrestler here at Reality of Wrestling. Professional wrestling has been part of my life for as long as I can remember. Growing up, I would have the toys, I would have matches with stuffed animals, I had a little paper championship. I always had that voice in the back of my head saying, can you do this? Can you really be a pro wrestler? And one day that voice got so loud, I just had to know. So I did my research, and I found that Reality of Wrestling is the best training ground in the whole country. You could sit down and turn on the TV every night of the week to watch pro wrestling, and you'll see someone who got their start in this ring. Reality of Wrestling teaches you everything you need to know about the business, from putting together the ring to putting together a TV show. This is a place where you can come and work on your fundamentals, work on your body, work on your interview skills. This is a one-stop shop for everything pro wrestling. If you have that voice in the back of your head, now is the time to find out if you have what it takes here at Reality of Wrestling.
Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Just kicking it, telling stories. Something I said I don't do, tell stories, but I tell stories sometimes. This story's a little bit different. I remember when my brother and I was in the Global Wrestling Federation, and we did an angle about our mother. My mother passed away when I was 13 years old, so she didn't, she wasn't alive when we actually did this angle. And I could have been like, man, I don't want to do that, man, because my mother passed, man, and it's going to make me feel a certain way, but I say, man, I'm gonna do it in honor of my mother. You know what I mean? That's the way I made myself feel. But the angle was Gary Hart. My brother and my mother was sick. She had to have an operation, and Gary Hart wanted to buy our contracts, my brother and I, so we could work for him in order to get him to pay for the surgery and whatnot. We were having a match one night, and our so-called sister, actor, she came running down to the ring, and she was like, Mama had an accident. Mama had an accident. And we had to stop the match, right? Whatnot. We didn't know what to do, and I ended up getting out of the ring. I can't remember what happened in the match. We ended up losing the match, whatnot. And people were so caught up into that angle, man. And we didn't have, like I said, internet back then, but people were sending cash money in envelopes to the Sportatorium back then to help us get the operation for our mother. And that's why I say wrestling can still be very, very compelling if we take it there. But if we're not thinking like that, it's hard to make people feel that way. That's why I say it's hard to put a percentage on what these guys are doing right now, because man, it's making me feel, and that's the only thing that matters. That's the only thing that matters. If I feel a certain way about it, man, I'm compelled to want to keep watching it, and it's gonna. If I'm not interested in anything else, I'm going to be interested in that.
Yeah. No, I mean, and to me, it was something I was very curious about, because again, I was kind of flipping forth between that and the Game 7. So with the fact that it was on first, I was like, oh, here we go. Is he going to be there? And the crowd, I will tell you this, if this was a tactic for him to get more heat for Wardlow for the match, they hated MJF different level of hate for MJF. And he even made a gesture of like, I was going to fly on the plane kind of thing. And it was leading into it. Now, the commentary team didn't say anything about it, but everybody in the building knew. And I thought that was a really smart thing for him to play on. We'll see what happens with MJF. And look, there's still plenty to get to regarding Double or Nothing AEW signature event. If you want to ask a question about it, super chat it in. We will answer that for you right now. We have a couple of super chats booked. So do you mind if we jump around a little bit?
Yeah, but before we get there, you was talking about, the one big event where we had a chance to be, a big part of when Kylie Ray was there. This time, Athena, Trouble.
Yeah.
AKA Ember Moon. I want to congratulate her for getting a spot, man, on the AEW roster, and hopefully big things will happen on forward in the future.
Look, a phenomenal pickup.
Yeah.
And to me, if you make a criticism of AEW, you have to look at their women's division, and it's not as lush as it possibly could be, right? And it seems like there's a couple of stars at the top, but it's not as doesn't have that depth. Right. And to me, Athena adds so much depth to that roster. And this is somebody who you don't have to question her abilities inside the squared circle. She knows exactly what she's doing.
Well, you don't have to wonder if she can work. She can't. She came from my school.
Right. So we know. And by the way, I'm just going to throw out there, I wouldn't mind the little AQA Athena program on television. I know y'all got a lot of spots there. I mean, I wouldn't mind seeing it.
Awesome. That would be awesome.
I wouldn't mind seeing it. So, we'll see if that's something, but I think that her showing up, and it looks like they're going to program her with Jade Cargill, which is the best thing for Jade Cargill. Yeah. It's the best thing possible. Yeah. You learn from somebody who's better than you. Jade Cargill has only been doing this for a couple of years. She's had 35 matches ever, right?
Yeah.
Athena is a seasoned veteran of the squared circle. You're going to learn more from her than most people. And I think that programming her and Jade Cargill together right now, that's the best thing for Jade and her to learn more at a faster rate.
Well, definitely to be able to, have them in some form just working towards getting to that, place we're trying to get. Because like I say, Jade Cargill, she's still a work in progress. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we want to rush anything too soon, but just having someone like Athena around there for her to be actually bounce off of and perhaps learn from, she definitely would be beneficial. But let's take those super chats, man.
All right, and I actually think that Jade's also working with Daniel Bryan in the ring as well. Or Bryan Danielson. This is from P Serious. P Serious says Tony Khan needs to take Booker's advice on knowing when to change your levels after the lack of professionalism he displayed at the press conference. Yeah. So for those who don't know, there was a press conference.
Hey man, you know what? P Serious. I appreciate the $4.99, but I appreciate the comment even more. Seriously, because I think about being able to change the levels, and that's a business, man. But go ahead, Brad. That's a business, man.
No. I was just going to say, I mean, to put it in context in case anybody listening or watching doesn't know what he's referring to, Tony Khan does his post-media scrums after the major pay-per-views. And during the CM Punk Tony Khan kind of a question-answer session, the Eric Bischoff controversy was brought up. And you know what? Tony Khan kind of cut off CM Punk from answering the question and had a somewhat profanity-laced filled rant saying that's effing BS. It's BS. It's effing BS. Said a few other things like that. And I'm going to give credit to CM Punk, who said, hey, let's just move on. I'm going to try to keep it positive here. Can we just move on? Right. But I will say that. Okay, go ahead.
You know what that right there is what I mean as far as changing your levels. A boss would feel a question and know how to handle that question first and foremost. Any questions about Eric Bischoff in my media squam after an AEW pay-per-view, the biggest one of the year? No comment to that.
I agree.
As simple as that. No comment. We're not here to. That's like locker room. Not even locker room. that's like the girls in the bathroom. You know what I'm saying? I'm dead serious, bro. That is ridiculous. I mean, and then all the F-bombs and whatnot. Yeah. It just shows a certain, I don't know if he wants to be Dana White, because Dana White curses sometimes, but Dana White curses sometimes in context. That context, sometimes if you're from the streets, you go, man, Dana White cool, man. He cool, dog. You know what I mean? But just to be saying stuff, just to be saying it, it's like doing spots just to be doing spots. That's the way I look at it. And to be able to put yourself out there and for people to criticize you, and that's what people are looking for every single second of this day, is looking for a reason to criticize you. Why give them that ammunition when you're supposed to be when I heard him ask who are you, and Tony Khan say I'm the CEO, the managers, I'm the ring, and I'm everything, pretty much. And then to go out and promote your company from that fashion right there, man, it just goes to show me, man, brother needs to know how to change his levels.
Yeah, I wasn't too much. Look, if he wants to answer the question, I mean, he can answer whatever question he wants to. I would probably have agreed with you.
Do you think it's proper to be answering questions about? I mean, do you really think
I wouldn't have answered it?
You would?
I wouldn't have. I would have said, look, Eric Bischoff can say whatever he wants to. I don't really have a comment to that. Is probably what I would have said. But look, he wants to defend his man. He thinks that he made a great investment with CM Punk, and in a lot of respects, he absolutely did. CM Punk's brought a lot of awareness to the company. So I can understand, okay, you want to back it up. So answer the question. I do think that it shows a lack of media training or professionalism in some regard to use the amount of profanity that he did. I'm not saying that Dana White or Vince McMahon, for that matter, aren't above it. Now, Vince McMahon will dictionary you to death, right? He'll use some words that you never heard of before. Okay. He'll dictionary you to death, and I don't even know what he says when he answers a question. But to me, Tony, I didn't love it. I didn't love it.
You couldn't have. I mean, because it just had no place for what we're trying to achieve here, and what our true goals are, and to be going to having a rant, a meltdown about Eric Bischoff, just goes to show you how much Eric Bischoff is really getting under the skin more than anything.
It's definitely rent-free. It's some rent-free stuff. I mean, look, but here's also the thing, Book. Look, let's be fair. It's his company, right? What do you always say? Look, it's your stuff. You can run it however you want to run it. And if Tony Khan wants to acknowledge Eric Bischoff and he wants to respond to him in that way, he's well within his rights to do so.
But normally, when I say stuff like that too, I always say, to just say that to my face. I don't. Let's not talk about it on social media or anything. That's like true. That. I'm not finna, get into the weeds as far as Twitter fingers or anything like that. I mean, we have to have a conversation. We'll have it. But for me, at my biggest event of the year, the last person that I'm going to be thinking about, because I'm thinking about the after party. I'm thinking about, making, getting with my guys and, having a celebration for this great night that we had, because he said it was a great night. He said it was an awesome night. And then to fall to that low about Eric Bischoff in the press conference was like, wow. Like you say, rent free. We got to take a break, guys. We got to take a break. Stick around. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
Everything all right? Everything's fine. It couldn't be better, actually. Gaspar. Reality of wrestling is growing. And growing very quickly, if I may add. We have the big showdown. Don't mess with Texas event coming up in Dallas. It couldn't be better. But there is one little problem that we may have to fix. Ed Stone, who has the audacity to want to buck the system. He's one of Charmel's favorite. He think he has protection. Well, show him how you get protected. Come in. Promise. Have a seat.
Don't mind if I do.
I have high hopes for you, Promise. You're going places. You're going to be a big star. You already are. And we have the huge event coming up. The Sherry Martel Classic. This event was made for you. You are the chosen one. You must represent reality of wrestling like no one else can. I need you to do this for me. Can you do this, Promise?
There's a quote you said in 1997. In order to kick some ass, you gotta bring some.
I like that. Thank you, Promise. See you at the Classic. Now, we get down to business.
Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We just talking a little AEW right now. Talking wrestling in general. Like Brad said, if you guys got a question, make sure you guys super chat it into us. We'll make sure we get. I see we got a few super chats, Brad. Let's get to them.
We do. This guy named Alex, regardless of MJF's disgruntlements, I salute him for staying professional throughout the match and putting over Wardlow. I'm sure there's been people who wouldn't have done the same if they were in his shoes. Yes, look, there was no question about it. He knew his job. He knew his mission for the night, and he went out there and did it. Wardlow looked like a massive star, a mega star at the end of that match. Props to MJF.
You always go do the job. That's a time-honored tradition right there. I remember the night I won the world title. I can only imagine what Jeff Jarrett was feeling when they told him, look, we want you to just go out here with Hogan and lay down. Don't say nothing. All right. You go out and you get it done. It's just part of it. Can you imagine what the referee said when Vince said, look, I need when he get in that sharpshooter, I need you to say he tapped, okay? Well, when you're in a position, you go out and you get the job done, and later on you figure it out. But I appreciate that kid for going out there and doing the right thing too. If, like I say, if it's a work, if it's a shoot, hey, there again, we're like the fish, and we're all getting hooked right now, and that's what I love about the business. If they could do that to me every time, I'm in. I'm all in.
Kai Toenail says, why did they leave out the whole SmackDown roster? This is the least promoted show ever. Come on, it's Hell in a Cell. And for the first time, I'm not excited. At least Book will be on the kickoff show.
You know what? I never really even thought about it that way. Who we got from SmackDown?
Let's look at the card here. Well, I know Roman Reigns isn't on the show, right?
Yeah.
I know he's not on the show. And I don't think he's going to be on Money in the Bank either.
Usos, they're on it, right?
So far, we have Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins. You have Bianca Belair, Asuka, and Becky Lynch. So those are Raw. Bobby versus Omos and MVP. That's Raw. Ezekiel versus Kevin Owens. That's Raw. And then Theory versus Mustafa Ali. That's Raw. And the Judgment Day versus Finn Balor, AJ Styles, and Liv Morgan. Yeah, so it's 6 Raw matches as of right now.
Wow. I mean, I don't know. I can't answer questions like that, to be honest. I'm not that far, up the chain as far as behind the scenes and what they're doing from that aspect. I can't answer that question. I don't know. And I know, people want to see their fans from SmackDown. I mean, that's fans of SmackDown. They want to see their guys, just like the fans of Raw. They want to see their guys. But I can't answer that question right there. That's definitely out of my hands.
Yeah, I don't know what the reason is. I think that the Hell in a Cell match between Seth Rollins and Cody Rhodes has been highly promoted, though. That I do know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you right now, that match right there has got a lot of heat on it, especially coming off of just Monday night, and the fans they're bought in.
Yeah,
I'm serious, man. That thing is really taking on its own life, just like just like I say, the MJF stuff. It make you feel a certain way about watching wrestling. The stuff with Seth Rollins, I've been trying to get off into this character that he's doing for quite some time, and I'm finally buying into it. I'm over there laughing and then turning serious, but then going out in the ring and giving me a stellar performance. He's there again, like the Joker. He's a little bit different, but when it comes to performing, he's second to none, and that's what I like about this angle. Cody and Seth Rollins, they've been doing some real good work.
yeah. We'll see if there are any changes because we still have SmackDown, and matches can always be added.
Yeah. I'm sure something's going to be added by Friday. Yeah, I'm sure somebody's got to get in there. I'm sure.
Now, what do you think about Roman Reigns not being on the show? I know we've talked about this, about him taking a lighter schedule. It looks like that's kind of the case. And I don't think he's scheduled for this pay-per-view or the next one. And this is coming right after unifying the titles. Are you worried? I mean, should we be concerned about this at all? Because really, we've seen this before. Brock Lesnar's done it. Other guys have done it in the past. I don't know. What do you feel about it?
I'm not a fan of guys having to wrestle on every show. I've never been a fan of that. I've always been a fan of, like, when Hogan used to come and like say when he was on Saturday Night Main Event. Man, it was a huge night, man, for us to see Hogan on Saturday Night Main Event. It meant something. We knew we was going to see Hogan, do like certain big events, but he wasn't on television all the time. He wasn't on Monday night, the regular shows all the time. And I think that's what made it special. And I know wrestling is what it is. And people think it's just, guys out there playing around. But I still think to be able to bring that realism effect into effect, I think it could work. Just imagine. We just saw Tank Davis fight on Saturday night. Can you imagine if Tank was fighting this weekend?
I know.
There's
no way.
I mean, he didn't take a lot of damage in that fight. So you say, man, he can fight another fight. You know what I mean? Let's throw him in, here in the next week or so. It's not going to have the same feel to it. It's not going to have. And so I feel like, time away, make the heart grow fonder. I think, I really do. When you see that guy, I think it's going to be a lot more special for you. Should he, just be totally away, maybe from a fly-in, a promo or whatever, so you still see his face, so he still have some presence. But for that guy to actually have to be there, I think that part of the game, it can change, and perhaps it should.
Yeah. I think that, Roman kind of taking this stance, or if you will, or making this path forward for himself might help forge the future for other guys. And look, here's the thing. Back in the day, when Ventura was talking about the union, right? And he couldn't get the union through, right? Who the one guy was who was against the union more than anybody? It was Hogan. Hogan was the top guy. And he said, wait a minute, if I'm sharing the benefits with everybody, I'm not really the top guy anymore. We're all treated the same, right? So he stood away from it. I think Roman taking this stand, right? Being the locker room leader, being the top guy, being the world champion of the company, saying, look, I need more time off to care for my body so I can go out there and do this at the high level that you're used to. I hope that paves the way for other people, because if the top guy's doing it, everyone else, should be able to fall in line.
But maybe it's not a Roman thing. Maybe it's a company thing.
Maybe it is a company thing. That's a good point too.
I mean, so I look at it from that perspective, more so because normally the guys don't get a chance to call their own shots. Okay, they just don't. The company have to be in good standings with that person, as well as that guy got to be doing a whole hell of a lot for that company, for something like that to actually happen. That's what Roman is. That's what Roman does. He's been doing it. He's put the company on his back for these last 3 years, and he's done a hell of a job. I give him a whole hell of a lot of credit for going through everything that he's gone through outside of the ring that people don't know about. People think, he's a superhero. He didn't go through everything like normal people. But this dude has gone through a whole lot outside of the ring, as well as trying to carry the load inside of the ring. So I give him a lot of credit. And for me, if I was a company and I had a guy like Roman, I would protect him. That's what I would do. I would protect him and try to keep him around as long as I possibly could. And there again, maybe the business, can change and perhaps should in that aspect.
We'll see. I mean, and here's the other thing. And I said this back when Brock, was the part-time champion or what have you, or was there every so often, it inherently elevates every other championship, like the U.S. title and the IC title. If they're on the show, you got those title matches that you normally might not even make it, right? So those titles feel inherently more important, and the big matches feel bigger, like Cody and Seth.
Well, the one caveat to this little throwback here is, you remember we was having this conversation about the unified titles?
Yes.
And being, not defending that title on, one of those titles not being, in operations, that could have throw a little monkey in the wrench right there. So
you're saying if we had two titles,
goes back to my point, right? Goes back to my point, right?
No, I actually still don't agree with you.
Okay, all right, you can say that, but I know you do.
I don't agree with you.
I know you do. I know you do.
No, I don't, because
I know you do, but
you still have singles titles, like the U.S. title and the IC title, that now feel more important.
Wait, come on, man. Come on. The girl just walked out on the company because they said the damn tag team, we ain't getting enough respect. So that's what are you talking about?
Look, Austin Theory's U.S. title inherently will feel more.
Theory, man, got a whole lot of work yet still to be done, man, before he can establish himself as a fortified major mega superstar. This kid got a whole lot more. So I don't agree with you on that. You don't agree with yourself on that.
I do agree with myself.
But I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna take a break here. You know what I mean?
Take a break.
Let you think about it just for a second.
Cool off. Don't get hot about it.
Because I know how you feel. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute.
On the indies for a couple of years, and for me, I could not take that experience back for anything. I mean, learning how to wrestle in front of 6 people and trying to draw emotion out of people who maybe just by happenstance came across the show, but to work with conditions where the ropes some are too tight, some are too loose, some of the rings had big dips in it, trying not to trip over the canvas, and just having that experience of working in all these different, every ring was different at every indie show that I did, and so to know that I have to put on a good show regardless of the circumstances, even if the ring doesn't show up and I have to wrestle on a gymnasium floor, hoping for the best, it really helped shape my ability to be able to think on the fly and made me who I am today.
What's up, this Booker T, 2-time Hall of Famer. I know you're checking out the Shine, checking out the Gloss. I want to thank you guys for checking out Row on YouTube. Hey, don't forget to click and subscribe to check out all the latest content right here each and every week. Now, can you dig that, sucker? Can you dig it, sucker?
You're listening to the Hall of Fame. Here's Booker T and Brad Gilmore.
Welcome inside the Hall of Fame. I'm Booker T, 6-time world champ, 2-time Hall of Famer. Got my man Brad Gilmore here with me, and we're just sitting here talking. Everything, sports and entertainment. ESPN 97.5, 92.5, as well as all of the listeners, man. Again, man, I want to thank you guys for stepping inside the Hall of Fame, getting your champagne wishes and caviar dreams. And I know we got a lot of super chats already, Brad. So let's get them rolling, man. Let's get them rolling.
All right. Brooklyn Bryan says Forbidden Door. AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling. I'm hoping Kairi Sane might wrestle in AEW. She got me back into wrestling after Evolution all-women pay-per-view. WWE needs to do one more. Hey, your son's a big Kairi Sane fan, right?
Yeah, man. He fell in love with her first time he saw her doing that pirate gimmick. She had on all white, man. It was such a cool outfit she had on. And she was just like major awesome that night. That elbow off the top rope was just like literally Macho Man would be so damn proud of her, bro. Macho Man would literally be so proud of her the way she dropped that elbow. Nobody better. Sister Macho Man does it like her, man. So I give her a lot of props. But yeah, man, she would be a big pickup, man. She would be a huge pickup for AEW. And I wouldn't call it the Forbidden Door or anything like that, but I feel like someone like Kairi Sane fit in perfectly with what they're doing over there at AEW. I don't know if she wants to do the death matches or anything like that because she looks good. You know what I mean? But I don't think she want to screw that up more than anything.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kairi Sane, you could see her at Forbidden Door. I don't know. There's a lot of people who could show up there. I'll be interested to see how that turns out. And speaking of people showing up in AEW, Aaron C says, can you see Naomi and Sasha jumping to AEW? We do know reports say that their contracts are close to being over with. I know WWE has suspended them without pay. There's talks that their contracts aren't even being frozen right now. So theoretically, that's something that we could see this year.
Hey, man, I wouldn't be surprised, or shocked or anything of the sort. If they were to show up in AEW, just because it's business, that's what happens. When you lose a job, normally when you lose a job, you go looking for a job somewhere else. That's just the way life is, So when people see guys pop up over at AEW that used to work at WWE, I don't know why they're so surprised because that's what happened back in the day with the WCW guys. When they left WCW, where'd they go?
They would go back over.
They went to WWE. They went to Japan. Guys left WWE. Where'd they go? WCW. That's just part of it, So yeah, I would not be surprised. I would be surprised if I saw Sasha. I wouldn't be surprised, if I saw Naomi. Let's say it that way. Just because I think Sasha got so many more opportunities outside of wrestling, with movies and being related to Snoop Dogg, as well as I'm sure she's made a hell of a bank, since she's been working there. So yeah, I think I would be surprised if I saw Sasha.
Yeah, I think that Sasha Banks, either one of them, I'd be surprised. It's just sometimes it is hard to see them go from one side to the other. Like you can't envision it. But I'd be surprised actually if I saw it. I'm still hoping that they can resolve this. I'm hoping that we're not too far past the point of no return so we can get this done.
Yeah.
Right. There's got to be, if all sides want to come to the table, if WWE still wants them to be a part of this company, and if Naomi and Sasha feel like they still want to be. I think that right now both sides have kind of drawn a hard line in the sand and they're not budging from just kind of what you're hearing. Like there's no conversations being had. So I think they're waiting for one of them to break. But I'll tell you this, there's only so long you can go without getting that paycheck on the 1st and the 15th.
I think both of them going to be fine. Because, Jimmy, he's still getting a paycheck.
Sure.
So I think they're both going to be fine. I don't think they're going to be in a tight, position where they going to be looking for money or anything anytime.
Well, and doesn't Sasha's husband work for the company?
I think so.
I think he does.
I think he does.
He's a seamster.
I'm not going to comment on her husband or anything like that.
Well,
So,
I'm just asking. I was just asking because we know.
I don't. And again, I don't even know if that's her husband or not.
What do you mean?
I'm just saying. I don't know.
You're
So
saying you want to keep out of people's personal lives.
I stay out of people's personal.
Yeah.
lives.
Okay. I feel you.
Talk about people's personal lives.
My bad for bringing it up. My bad for bringing it up.
So that's just me. Because somebody report that and try to make it look like I'm trying to say something about somebody. No, I don't know him. I don't know who she's married to. I never heard of.
Okay, yeah, well, you're staying out of people's personal lives.
Yeah.
Aaron C will say, "Hey, Book, do you think this Raw and SmackDown BS should be over with? Let wrestlers perform on every show, have only one world title." Well, I think that you don't agree with it.
I didn't say that. I said I don't agree with unifying the championships.
Okay.
All right, because they're two different shows. He's talking about a totally different thing. He said if there were just one big show.
Yeah, and that's what Brooklyn Bryan's saying
It
too.
was, like Nitro and Thunder. Okay, that's what he's talking about. I could be wrong, but that's the way I read it. Something like that. Yeah, that perhaps could happen, and it might make things a lot stronger because you're going to have a full roster of, just say for instance, all of your top tier talent going to be on that show, and they're all going to be vying for one thing. That could make things a whole lot more compelling. Yeah, it could. And is that something that should happen? Perhaps, yeah. That's something that perhaps should happen. And I agree with that. Brad, I don't agree with the way you see it, yeah, but I agree with the way he see it.
Okay. Maybe it's just the messenger then.
No, it's not the messenger. It's the mess. You don't blame the messenger. You blame the message.
It's like a jungle sometimes. It makes you wonder actually from going under.
Because when you can't trust, and the thing is, when you can't trust the messenger, you can't trust the message.
Okay. Look. I think that the brand split should be done away with. However, I do understand.
See, now you're fishing. Now you're looking for something. Every time somebody says, damn it, every time somebody say, however, they're looking for something.
How about this?
What am I going to say next?
How about this? Nevertheless,
exactly.
I understand the point for the brand split.
Get to the next super chat.
This is holla if you fear me. I have to give credit. MJF is good. I love to hate him, and he helped launch Wardlow into a star. But he is not irreplaceable like he thinks. If I was Tony Khan, MJF now stands for Might Job Forever. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. What do you think about that, Book? Okay, I think Book's frozen here. We'll give Booker a second here to come back. But to answer your question while we wait for Booker, holla if you there he is.
I'm back. I see it. All right. He's not irreplaceable like he thinks. Okay.
If I was Tony Khan, MJF now stands for Might Job Forever.
You know what? It's not that I don't think anyone is irreplaceable in the business. No matter who has, I don't care, Gorgeous George all the way up to, The Rock, guys leave, the business keep on going. That's just part of it. MJF is carving his own path as far as how he wants to be looked at in this business. MJF wants to be looked at as a top guy for only what he brings to the table. It's the only thing you can bank on is yourself. And I really think MJF is definitely taking the right approach, because how many times have I said, you really can't never really be friends with the boss. Okay.
Right.
You want to keep that a business relationship. I've known Vince McMahon for quite some time, but I've never called him on his cell phone, you know what I mean? Or anything like that. I've texted him, happy birthday or something like that. He'll text me happy birthday, but as far as us having a conversation, that's just not something you have, because he may have to fire me one day. And I'm sure MJF knows that Tony Khan may have to fire him one day, just like he couldn't come to agreement with Cody Rhodes. That same thing may happen with him, because it's business, and you got to be able to keep everybody on their toes. When you're talent, when you're 99%, you keep your mouth shut. When you're 100%, you speak up 100% of the time, and that's where MJF is right now. He's 100% as far as how talented he is and what he brings to the table. And the reason why is we're talking about it.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with you. I agree with you on that. He's definitely got value to the company, and we'll see what happens with that. I know that we're getting close to a break. We have a couple of Brooklyn Brian comments on this. Says we should have all wrestlers on both Raw and SmackDown. That's something we were just talking about a second ago. If you have a question about this Double or Nothing show, make sure you send it in to us right now. We have a couple segments left for the day. But Book, with Double or Nothing, we have avoided one big part of the show. The big title change happened. We have a new AEW World Champion. I think we should talk about that a little bit after the break.
Stick around, guys. You're in the Hall of Fame. We'll be back in a minute. You worth it.
Walker Texas Ranger handles the bad guys with a roundhouse kick. I'm Jim Walker, Walker Texas lawyer. I handle the insurance companies with a roundhouse kick to the wallet. If you've been injured in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident, give me a call at 713-552-1117 or visit my website at walkertexaslawyer.com. You'll be glad you did. Why would you call anyone else?
Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. Yeah, talking a little AEW right now. Big pay-per-view went down. What is it? Double or Nothing? Yeah, Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing.
Yeah. CM Punk became the new AEW World Heavyweight Champion. What do you think about it, man? What do you think about that?
11 years after he won the WWE title for the Summer of Punk back in 2011 at Money in the Bank. Look, if you ask my personal opinion, it's undeniably the right decision. Right? I mean, it's just the same reason why it made sense to put it on Jericho first. It makes sense to put it on CM Punk now. CM Punk, back when he had his original run in 2011 into the 2012-13, right? He was one of the biggest stars in wrestling at that time, at that moment, right? And when he came back for AEW in Chicago at the last dance, or the first dance, excuse me, it was a massive moment, right? That everybody remembered. It was a big deal in the wrestling community. So for him to be the AEW World Champion, when you look at their roster and you look at the name power and the drawing power of a guy like CM Punk, it made more sense. And I'm not trying to knock Hangman Adam Page, but if I'm being honest, his run left something to be desired. Nothing with his in-ring work. I think he's actually really good bell to bell. When you look at what Hangman Adam Page does, I think he's actually really good, exceptional in some matches. But I didn't really think that his run didn't captivate the audience. Like remember Hangman when they first started running with him back when the company first started, he felt like a bigger deal, right? And I think by the time he won the title, some of that steam had worn off on him. And so making the change right now, I think it was great. I think the match was fine. And I think CM Punk being the world champion makes sense. Now we'll see what he does with it. What'd you think?
Yeah. CM Punk definitely is the guy as far as what do you bring him in for? I mean, if you're not going to put the title on him, and push him to the moon and really try to create a buzz off of, CM Punk and what he's created. Why do you bring him in? So definitely. For me as a promoter, I would have did, that was the move I would have been thinking. Get the title on CM Punk and let's see how far we can ride this gravy train. Yeah, heck yeah, that's my thoughts exactly. I didn't get a chance to see the match or anything like that. As far as Hangman Adam Page, like you say, he's a damn good worker. I don't think it was a highlight put on his title run as well. I don't think he got any of the glitz and glamour. don't know. It's almost like one of those things, one of those times, like when you become the champion, but you're not in the main event.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The biggest part of the show.
You just on the show, you're not the main event. It's like, what the hell's going on here? I'm the champ, you know what I mean? It's one of those type of deals. And I think Hangman Adam Page got definitely some of that effect. And I don't think it was to no fault of his own or anything like that. I just think, I don't know, it could be a multitude of things as far as why people didn't really get off in that Hangman Adam Page's run, because there again, he's a good worker as well. He's a big guy too. He's a lot bigger than he actually looks on television.
Yeah, no, yeah. I think
he's bigger than you.
He's bigger than me. Well, that's not saying much, but I think that he was a good choice too to try to build a new star. Like out of the 5 guys who've now held that AEW world title, you look at Chris Jericho, Jon Moxley, Kenny Omega, now Hangman Page, and CM Punk. He was the only guy who wasn't really a household name prior, right?
Yeah.
And they were trying to make him. And I think that.
But what do we know? What do we know? What do we know? Tony Khan said that Hangman Adam Page is the greatest AEW world champion in his history.
I think that's a hyperbolic statement.
I'm just saying, man. I'm just saying. That's what he said. Just said. So what do we know? What do we know? It's not our company. We're not there. We're not looking at it up close and personal and saying it like that. Maybe he knows. Maybe he knows. Maybe Tony Khan knows something that we don't. Maybe that's it.
Now, I will say this. I hope MJF figures out his situation with AEW, because he is the obvious guy to eventually take that title off of CM Punk. I mean, right? Just going, like, not anytime soon, but several months down the line for him to have his crowning moment by beating CM Punk again. Because really, CM Punk won their rivalry in the dog collar match. And what better way to elevate a young talent and really establish a star than giving him the title. Now, I don't know if that'll happen now that there's all this beef, but I'm just saying, perfect world, he would be the guy I'd drop it to.
Man, I don't book shows or anything.
I know you don't.
So I know. See, you always try to do that. You always try to get me to stop booking shows.
I'm just telling you my opinion.
Yeah, I don't book shows or anything like that. MJF, CM Punk. I think that would be a great matchup. Especially, I'm thinking about the realism side of it. There's something that could be used. CM Punk made a statement. I was reading it somewhere. I can't remember what it was, but CM Punk said in AEW, he earned the title. And for me, being a guy like MJF, seeing a statement like that from CM Punk saying he earned the title would really piss me off. That's why I say this.
Why is that?
Because I've been here, I built this company, and you come in and steal my glory.
Mm-hmm.
How do you think you earned it over me? I'm just saying, from an angle perspective. I don't want anybody to go write anything stupid. All right. But from an angle perspective, I can see that happening, 100%, but as far as, earning the championship, I don't know if that was a real statement or not. Because, it's wrestling, and earning the championship, it's a little bit different earning it in wrestling than earning it, in boxing or earning it in football, basketball, UFC, stuff like that.
Yeah, no, I hear you, but overall, I mean, from a promoter's aspect, this was the right move, right? Because some people were saying, well, maybe they should have had a longer feud with him and Adam Page, like maybe milk a couple more shows out of this.
I don't know, what more could we have gotten out of that? Like I say, we brought CM Punk in for a reason. It's like bringing a quarterback in and letting him sit on the sideline. You brought him in, you paid him a Deshaun Watson deal, and you sit him on the sideline. I said we're not gonna ever see Deshaun Watson ever play in the NFL ever again. And the thing is, he just got $233 million, and we still might not see him play.
We're probably not see him.
So yeah, that's what I'm talking about more so than anything.
Yeah. Well, I mean, congratulations to CM Punk. I think is he the first person, from what I was reading, to be the ECW Ring of Honor, WWE, World Heavyweight, and AEW champion. I think that he's the first to do that. So congratulations to him on the milestone accomplishment.
Wait a minute. He didn't get the Impact, though.
He didn't get Impact. He didn't get the full Mountie of it all. But
you got to get the Impact, and according to Diva and Bubba, you got to get the Hustle Pro Wrestling Championship as well.
What's Hustle?
Some company in Japan. You know, I don't want to get on Diva because I told Diva I would never bring up any of his old titles or anything like that.
Like the ECW tag team title?
Say again?
Like the ECW tag team title?
Yeah, like the ECW.
Those regional championships?
I see that. I said Diva. I said I wasn't going to ever say that anymore.
Look. I'm just going to point out. You know what ECW originally was called, right?
What?
It was ECW Eastern Championship Wrestling.
That's right. Yeah.
So Eastern, that means it's a regional thing. I'm just pointing that out.
I said, you know what? That's what I tried to tell him too, but he didn't want to believe me. He somehow they became world title. That's another story. I don't have no beef with Diva. He's my boy. But
don't get into it now. Don't fall for the trap there, Booker T. Don't fall for the trap.
I ain't falling for it, man. It's like you trying to get me to book somebody's show, man. I'm not doing it. I'm not booking anybody's shows, man. Only shows I'm booking is Reality of Wrestling.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because speaking of Reality of Wrestling, it's just around the corner, June the 11th at the Booker T World Gym Arena. That's 10,000 M&F Lowry Expressway at 7 o'clock bell time. We have Reality Wrestling presents Lock Up, featuring the first ever Reality Wrestling Championship match inside of a steel cage between the Mysterious Q and Will All Day. Tickets are still available. This is a television taping for the CW, so make sure you come out and check it out. If you're in the Houston metropolitan area, it's going to be one that you can't miss out on.
Man, you always got to say live TV taping. Okay,
live television tape.
That hooks them a little bit more live TV.
It is live.
You can see yourself on TV, guys. But that show right there, Q, Will All Day, that's a matchup right there, guys, that you do not want to miss. If you have not subscribed to the Reality of Wrestling YouTube channel, you might want to do that. You might want to do it right damn now. If you got some friends that don't know about it, you might want to tell them, hey, man, check out some Reality of Wrestling. These guys actually are really good. They are the next level of star in this business. So check him out, guys. Will All Day, a guy who's getting a lot of praise around the country right now. I don't even call him Mysterious no more since they took the mask off. Q, the boy is bad. He can work with anybody in the world. Check out your Reality of Wrestling. Get some you do not want to miss out. We got to take a quick break, guys. Stick around. We'll be back in a minute.
A little bit, but I think the match that everyone kind of saw me at my I got the right exposure, I guess, is when I faced Ricochet in Japan for the Best of Super Juniors. And I think a lot of people saw that match and was like, all right, well, this is what Will does. He's a flippy guy. But I saw the constructive criticism that everyone would say, and I would go, hang on, no, they've got a point. They have got a point. We could have done some stuff different. We could have done this, that, and that different. And then I got in the ring with a guy called Shibata. And in New Japan, like, he was like top, like, do you know what I mean? He's like he was one of the new generation Three Musketeers. And I would be like, yeah, I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do that. And he looked me dead in the eyes. Like, he just looks at me. He goes, no. Oh, mate, I am so scared. And he didn't, honestly, he didn't tell me a single thing of what we were going to do until I got in the ring. Yeah. And I was so scared.
Can you dig it, sucker? Welcome back inside the Hall of Fame, guys. We're getting ready to take it home here in a bit, man. Again, thank you guys for stepping inside the Hall of Fame, getting your champagne wishes, caviar dreams. We're talking a little AEW. What was it? Double or Nothing? Yeah,
Double or Nothing, Book. Double or Nothing.
I just keep saying that, man. No, I'm just playing, man. Double or Nothing. Yeah, man. Like I said, I didn't get a chance to see it, but I did get a chance to see some of the high points, some of the highlights for the pay-per-view, and it was just like a car crash, man. It was like spot, boom, crazy, some crazy, spot after another, bing, bing, bing. It seemed like it was just chaos all night long, as far as guys going out there and breaking themselves. A lot of rumor swirling right now about Jeff Hardy
Yeah.
in AEW. I don't know if you've been keeping up with that.
Well, I mean, there's definitely a lot regarding the status of his physical well-being, right? Jeff had a match with the Young Bucks, he and his brother. He looked like noticeably like there were some issues there, and a couple times now they said it had to do with his boot not being adequate during the match, right? But also the Wrestling Observer reported that he was a mess going into that match. That was their words, not mine.
Yeah, that's what I saw. Yeah, I saw
He
that.
was physically doing pretty bad after the Darby Allin match that he had on Dynamite in the semifinals of the Owen Hart Cup. Look, Matt and Jeff have made no mistake about saying that this is, kind of their final run together as a tag team. It's going to end in AEW. Jeff, 44 years of age, I believe, maybe 45, has put his body through a lot. I hope that, he's just having some ill effects from one match, but logic would dictate that this is an amalgamation of years of high-risk maneuvers, right? How many times have we seen Jeff Hardy do a swanton through a table or a ladder, right? You can only do so many of those before it starts to catch up with you. I hope that he's feeling great and just needs some rest and some R&R, and it's nothing major. But he did look a little slow. I won't say who, but somebody texted me during the match, and they said, "Did Jeff Hardy look all right to you?" And so it was something that fans were noticeably seeing on Saturday.
Yeah. I mean, everybody got the proverbial bump card. Once you use that bad boy up, that's just part of it. And Jeff Hardy's been pushing himself for a long time. I've always said, man, Jeff, at the end of his career, man, he's going to be feeling, a lot of the bumps and bruises of being in those trenches, man, going out there and giving himself to the business, man. That's what Jeff has done. He's given everything to this business. I can only commend him for that. I can only commend the guys that actually go out there and put their bodies through that, and knowing what they're going to wake up with the following day, because it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good at all. Because I've found myself in the past where I wake up in the morning where I got to roll out of the bed, get to my knees to where I can try to get up one leg at a time, and I'm using the bed to actually do it because my back is just killing me. And I swear to God, and the thing is, I remember doing that and just laughing. What the hell am I doing? What am I thinking? Because I'm in so much pain and I'm doing it to myself. Jeff knows exactly what he's been doing all these years. That's why I say I commend him. And hopefully, hopefully it's not, as bad as, one could actually imagine.
We have a super chat here in from Roland Curtis, who says, hypothetically speaking, do you think that having The Undertaker in the WWE locker room could have helped Sasha and Naomi and stopped them from walking out?
No. And I say that because you can't, I don't want to use a blanket statement or anything like that. So let me make sure I say this properly. A lot of times with the young guys these days, just to be blunt, they don't want your help. They don't want to hear from you. This is a new era. This is a new time now, and your time is past. And I would hate to see one of these young. And I think the Undertaker said something not too long ago about the business, and he got all kind of heat from it about saying the young guys were soft. I think he said something like that, and people got all over the Undertaker about it because a lot of times these days on social media, the fans, they don't care about someone's legacy, and sometimes they can get the wrestler to buy into that as well, to not even care about what that person brought and gave to the game and how much knowledge he actually really have, and he might can help you in the situation you're in. I don't think it's looked at that way anymore. I really don't.
Yeah, I mean, look, again, we're dealing in hypotheticals, so who the hell knows, right? But I would venture a guess to say if Sasha and Naomi got to the point to where they felt like walking out was their only remedy to the situation that they were in, I don't think Undertaker, Stone Cold Steve Austin, Santa Claus, or the Easter Bunny could have convinced them to not walk out on that moment.
It's a different time. It's a different era. Like I say, that's something that, and I'm gonna tell you right now, you're gonna hear, you get listen to a lot of the old school guys talk, okay, and I can almost guarantee you, it's going to be a higher percentage to where the guy's going to say, man, you don't walk out on the show. They're going to say,
Right.
you do the show and then you walk out after. Normally that's what they're going to say in that situation right there.
And we have one more here before we wrap up today. This is from Joseph Morrison. Melina deserves a lot more respect than she gets by WWE. She is one of the only former talents that's never had a bad thing to say about them. She was just in the Royal Rumble this year, right?
You know what? As far as Melina goes, I really like Melina. Now, I did not like Melina in her day. No one did. She was one of those that owned it. She wanted to be the best in the ring, and she was hell to deal with in the locker room. I think she would attest to that, perhaps these days. And I don't think that's why she don't get as much love or anything like that. Maybe it was the departure of Melina more than anything. But I do know, and I've always said this: as far as talent go, there was nobody better than Melina.
Well, I tell you what, from a fan perspective, right? I mean, the entrance was something to behold as a young man, and then she did back it up bell to bell. I do feel like her character was always on point. So I mean, look, but here's the thing too. She came from an era where the girls were kind of in and out real quick, right? I mean, you didn't have Natalia's on the roster, where you'd be on the show for 10 years. Right. I mean, it was like a 3-year run at best for a lot of the women. I think if had Melina come in a different time, she probably would have, been on the roster forever. Although I think she had a pretty good run. She was there for several years, right? For 7-8 years.
Oh, she was there for a minute. Like I say, but Melina, she like I say, nothing bad about Melina or anything like that. But she was controversial, man. She was very controversial. In WWE when she was there, and none of it had to do with her in-ring prowess or anything like that. But there again, as far as being one of the best, I think I told Melina that one day. She almost started crying. I said, Melina, I always thought you were the best female wrestler in that damn locker room in your time, and I really believe that.
Yeah, she definitely was a talent. We actually have another one here. Speaking of talented women, Brooklyn Bryan says Jade Cargill was great at Double or Nothing, and Athena is now in AEW. We talked about Athena and Jade. I still think Jade Cargill, that's going to be a name that a lot of people are going to know. Like, just give her a little bit more time. Like, man, she had money. Now she got a faction behind her.
I remember somebody said that. I remember somebody else said that. Oh yeah, it was me. And I said, people was talking about how crappy of a worker she was. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that. Yeah.
People said, oh man, they need to put the title on Ruby Soho. You know what I mean? I'm like, come on. And I know that's your favorite and everything, but I'm trying to build a major superstar for this company. And someone like Jade Cargill, you got to do that, the right way. You want to get that done right the first time, and she's a work in progress. But I can tell you this: from her first match to where she is now, it's night and day. It really is. So that tells me she's coachable, and from a psychology standpoint, if she can figure that out, which is not something that's really easy to do at all, where she could actually go out and know how to feel in that match, opposed to just going through the motions because she knows what she has in her head, man, she could become literally one of the best that we've ever seen in the business, because she's already got one half, already out of the way. She looks better than everybody. So if she can get the other side right, man, she could be go down as definitely truly one of the best.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. I really couldn't agree with you more, Book. I think that we talk about total package. That she's that and then some. Yeah, and just let the work catch up to the look and the character and the ability. Because even on the mic, she's great. I know they have a manager with her. You know, they always have somebody kind of cutting the promos with her. But I love it. Now she's got Red Velvet and Kiera Hogan with her. They're the baddies. I think the whole package is really it's one of the better things in that AEW women's division.
Definitely, I agree 100%. Now, Trouble is in the mix. Also known as Athena. Definitely should make a huge impact in that women's division as well. So, hey man, things might be heating up here pretty soon as far as AEW ladies go. So, hey man, that's pretty much it, man. We got any more super chats? We got
that's it. We're ready to go now. We got to wrap them up. We got to send them on home.
We got to wrap, man. We got to get out of here, man. I want to thank all you guys for sticking inside the Hall of Fame with us today. ESPN 97.5, 925. Always treating us right, man. Always giving us our props. Always up to us to give them theirs. Brad, I appreciate you, as always, man, for making sure you take care of all the magic behind the machine as well. But right now, guys, peace. We out of here.
Sucker!